the ego death that then has to occur is important for the sake of community, because of the fact that the more you become who it is that you are meant to be in society, the better of a person you would be, because you would consistently be that person. A new week. I wonder what's in store for us, right? We're going to catch up. It's going to be interesting. We're going to get straight into our writing prompt from last week, which was through the lens of a fading photograph. Okay, again, no idea where this came from, right? But it's there. It's clearly present. Through the lens of a fading photograph. For a second, I went back to have a laugh. See, in my memories, there is no pain, no clutter or waste. The world almost feels sane. I hear laughter, relive stories, and then I remember why it's fading. Then it slowly creeps in. Pain invading, except it vanishes this time. I exhale. You don't need to hold what isn't yours, finds my mind. I could never explain. It used to drive me insane. But what if this feels too close to numb? Don't be dumb. You don't feel nothing. There's nothing to feel unless it's what you feel, not what anybody caused. Makes sense? Memories are there in the past. They are not predictors and fortune tellers. The pieces lived through, pathways chosen, outcomes of who you would be. You just never knew. Your pain is because you remember who you were when the picture was shot. Pain from a different you, never materialized, a chance you never got. You got scared after it changed. You became someone else. Now you remember how much you used to laugh through the lens of a fading photograph. So yeah, these are fun, clearly. My brain is enjoying them. Yeah, hope you done well. If you wrote something, put in the comments. I'll be grateful. I'll read it. I promise. I promise. I promise. I have no idea how to judge poetry. The only thing that I know is if it seems honest and it seems sincere, then it probably is. Whether it's silly, deep or dark, doesn't really matter. Where are we going this week? How curious. The music thing has been fun because I've kind of left behind the 5 thing. I'm always giving more than the 5 songs, so that's quite fun. But music has been kind of carrying me in the strong brooding silences that I'm choosing to lean into, because I don't know if I have anything to say, which is hella ironic considering what's happening right now. But this is a different space. This is unpolished. This is not all the way thought out, which, as weird as it sounds, and it should make me feel a little bit more concerned than what it actually does. But this feels like the way it's supposed to be. I mean, if the point of this whole thing is for us to both be comfortable with one another, there needs to be a certain semblance of it being the same, right? Like, things need to consistently feel similar, although they are different. There needs to be more, but there needs to be a lot of the same, which is a little bit weird for me to understand. But also it can't be boring, and it must be interesting. Which is exhausting, if I'm being very honest, now that I list all of the things that my brain has to think about. But the irony is, the whole point of this is also to then build a rapport so that there's some form of connection. But here's the problem. I don't understand how to connect with an abundance of people, because I barely understand how to do the one-on-one thing, right? But that's not because of a lack of trying. It's more because of the fact that there's an assumption that there's a level of insincerity in the way that a lot of people form bonds, in my opinion. And I don't know if I think I reward thoughtfulness or consideration. I don't know which one it actually is. Because Someone telling me something they have no right or reason to tell me is something I see as a trust-building exercise. Someone that knows me withholding information from me is a mission, and therefore to me is a lie. Therefore it is a desire for disconnection. Right? It's never... I'm more likely to assume that a stranger is trying to protect me than assume that someone that cares about me is. Which is a weird thing to think, because in my head it's the decision that someone makes on your behalf that is the insulting part. It's the, oh, I think that you won't understand why I'm doing this thing, so I'm just going to decide to say it like this. Therefore, I've technically insulted your intelligence. Which is weird. If you care, it's weird, man. It's a weird justification for lying. It's something I don't properly understand. Because if you just if you're just lying because you don't want to get caught, that's a much easier reasoning for me to understand. Instead of calling instead of calling it something that you justifying as a protection thing for someone else, that's a bit silly. That's ridiculous, man. That's it's childish. It's weird. It's weird. I don't understand it because it's insincere. It's, I want to be disconnected from you as an underlying moniker of the way that we interact with one another. It's weird to me, man. And sure, everybody views intimacy differently, right? Like, I get it. If I don't know that you are, what's the word? If I don't know that your intimacy is, I don't know, let's just pick a cheap and easy one. If I don't know that your only understanding of intimacy is physical touch, because you've never experienced a different form of intimacy in your life, then anybody touching you seems like an intimate thing, if that's your definition of intimacy, right? And yes, unwarranted, unwanted, all of that, I'm not taking away from that. I'm just trying to highlight a different thing. The people that one decides to allow into that bubble are therefore people you are intimate with. Not in that way, just there's a certain level of intimacy and that permits them access into this bubble. The variations of that access is something that is interesting to me. The difference in time frames, the difference of depth, the difference of truth, the difference of honesty, the difference of silence. There's all of these different variations that live in these things. And the weird part is, a lot of the time, I think people not knowing pieces of your life is not protection of intimacy. It's the hindrance. It's the thing that stands in the way. It's the thing that you've decided is more important than the bond, which is a weird thing to say, because sometimes you don't know what you are feeling about a particular thing, and yes, you need to be prompted by someone else asking. But the difference then is, at any point do you not have a particular thought in your head that says you can talk and say whatever it is that you want to say? Maybe not, because of the fact that you're afraid of judgment, you're worried that no one's going to want to have the talk. Okay, sure. So your fear is what's getting in the way of the intimacy then. That's what I'm saying. If you can't then get to that expressive point, it's a problem. But also don't do the weasel thing, because I think people also get it misconstrued. When you run an example and you say, but my friend is going through this problem, and the person understands or hears you in there, it's a little bit of that intelligence insulting thing. It's weird. It's weird. But no one cares, because we're also having a lot more surface like conversations, right? Because that's also a thing. So how do you have a surface conversation that's real enough to give value? What types of conversations do you have? You don't want to know someone's opinion on death, even though that's 9 times out of 10 very, very interesting. You don't want to know what they're afraid of. That's very interesting all the time. You can learn a lot about a person by understanding their fears. You fun? A lot of people don't know what their fun is, so that's difficult to ask. I wonder. Right, so here we'll ask for help. If there's small time question, connection, a question that if you ask it, it's easy enough to answer, but it helps foster some kind of connection. Simple one-line stuff. Let's play that game, because that's going to be a little bit easier. And, okay, so realistically, I can just take this thought, crumple it up, and toss it away, right? And we can carry on with a completely different topic, because that's also a thing. I've been wondering, and this is ironic because it might tie into exactly what it is that I'm saying now. I've been wondering what a good person is. I've been thinking about it for a little bit. And whether it be the books that I'm reading, whether it be the music that I'm listening to, whether it be the way that I'm feeling, whatever culmination of those things in and of itself, I'm wondering, I tend to wonder why, if I have the thought about whether or not I perceive myself as good, that the other side of the question that then follows is, if I know what I would define as good or bad, then why do that thing? Or why not do that thing? Kind of thought. And I think it potentially could be because the goal shouldn't be to be good, which is a weird thing, because for me, goodness, first of all, I don't like niceness. Niceness is a concerning thing to me. It's one of the reasons I don't understand the what friends do thing that I spoke about. But when thinking of goodness, I tend to believe in a sense of, and it's such a weird measure. I can't understand why I would measure something by something that only other people can do. I don't think that goodness should be something that only other people experience. I think goodness should be something that you can experience within yourself, from yourself, towards yourself, which is great. But there's also a sense of the desire to be good in front of, for others, because of the sense of community that I think should exist. Generally, I don't think that will foster with everybody. I think community is something that is built brick by brick and on purpose. So it can't just be a mixed masala of put random people together and community will form. I'm not necessarily a believer of that. I think there needs to be a similar level of understanding, which is difficult to maybe achieve, and that's why community is a peculiar thing to me. So, if goodness is defined by the amount of benefit that you can give to your most immediate society, not society at large, because one at a time you can't necessarily have an effect, but your impact is therefore then exponential, because if you do it one by one, eventually that's going to sprint, if it's a true impact that you are having, influence, if you will. I think there's a genuine desire for people to try and be nice because of the fact that they believe that expressing or showing, exposing oneself as weak or lesser than is a negative. Confusing. Because in my head that's where intimacy lives, and in my head that would also then become a defining factor of community. But the selfishness, the innate desire to also be selfish, to lay one's claim, mark one's territory, be possessive, that type of energy, then the ego, if you will, fundamentally, if that's what I'm looking at, it sounds like that. The ego death that then has to occur is important for the sake of community, because of the fact that the more you become who it is that you are meant to be in society, the better of a person you would be, because you would consistently be that person. Granted, you would have to be making similar or the same element of choice, so you'd have to pick some kind of side. But the irony is, it seems a lot easier to go through a villain arc than it does to go through the whole hero's journey thing. Because being battered and bruised is not something that most people are willing to do. But, what's it? The song that I recommended, Matthew 10:38? Pick up your cross. Do your thing. You gotta move. You gotta follow. You gotta bear your burdens, unfortunately. And I think that's the irony of the experience with the whole community thing, is that you're allowed to isolate, and the goal is to be a better villager, and acknowledged. I think a lot of people don't want to be a part of the village if they aren't a villager the way they want to be. Because with a lot of what it is that I'm seeing that people are confronting themselves with, it's how their belief systems or their character traits of behavior. I can't even understand how to say what it is that I'm thinking properly. But the way that someone behind the scenes frames all of their decisions, those things are what I'm noticing is changing in a lot of people. And it's weird. It makes me very uncomfortable, because as someone that has become hyper dependent on pattern recognition, people changing patterns is the first thing that sets me on edge. And the inconsistency that I'm currently familiar with is something that takes away safety in almost every space, which is weird, because you wouldn't think that there's an ability to feel unsafe in familiar spaces. But in my head, that's the first place that safety disappears. So it's an interesting exercise in building a new definition of comfort, but also area where comfort can thrive. I guess it's weird. Still feel like I don't make a lot of sense sometimes when the ramblings hit me. But that's the 5 seconds of my thinking. Okay. Music. Let me not forget. Okay. So this week we're gonna. Okay. Let's just run through the list. I'm not gonna overcomplicate it. So the first song for this week is "Why Do I Bother" by Geordie. Then back to another James Blake and Dave combo. This time it's the other way around. This time they're on a Dave song, and this is "History" by Dave featuring James Blake. Then we're gonna change the speed up a little bit, as well as the energy, and then we're gonna go to "Taboo" by Isaiah Falls, and then all the way back to my boy Arlo with "Late Night Alchemy." Sorry, I couldn't leave it off. I think it had to be there. And then I'm gonna give it's a new artist to me, right? She's a new artist to me. Raina Joy, "If I Let You." And then the final one is we're going to circle all the way back to Marlon Craft, because his album should be coming out shortly, which is the song "Analog Man." Right? My series rec is going to be, I'm going back to watch Mr. Robot, because why the hell not? I have to. I think I watched 2 or 3 episodes of the first season. Yeah, it's the energy, so that's why Marlon Craft is in there. And then we need to choose a prompt for this week. Fun stuff. Okay, so this week on our poetry prompt choices, what do we have? Okay. Yeah, this one, man. Remember that movie "A Thousand Faces" I spoke about with triggering stuff? Yeah, I feel like this is gonna toy with me a little bit. The prompt for this week is gonna be "When the Night Whispers Your Name." When the night whispers your name. Okay. Yeah. Thank you for your time, guys. I appreciate you. It's a slow comeback. I'm trying to do it very, very efficiently to make sure that we have time every week. Also, the videos are a little bit longer because I'm trying to give more of my thinking to you guys, even though I feel like I'm waffling most of the time, but it's fine. Thank you for your time, as always. No, before we do that, for the last 5 seconds, so I can do it. Like, share, subscribe. Right? Tell your friends, friends. At the Ordinary Connection on socials. I'll put the stuff up. We are on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. I'm trying to figure out this Reddit thing. It still doesn't make sense to me. But yeah, I'm all over the place. I'm trying to figure out how this all works. Oh, and Spotify for the playlist. Right? Don't forget about that. As always, stay curious, stay kind, stay connected. TOC out.